Okay. Good morning, all. My name is Part2. Welcome to my channel, Prashant.net coding channel. So today we will learn about a roadmap, .NET roadmap to become a .NET developer. So first, okay, here it is. So Microsoft.NET Prashant.net coding. It is my channel, YouTube channel. Okay. So roadmap to become an .NET developer. So how to become .NET developer? So So to become .NET developer, like a full stack developer, so you have to learn starting programming basics. You should know programming basics like C sharp, .NET fundamentals, OOPS concepts. Next, you have to know the SQL entity framework. And for the front end, you have to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React or Angular. And you should know the uh, web development techniques, frameworks like ASP.NET, ASP.NET Core, ASP.NET MVC, ASP.NET Web API. So, and API development. So you have to learn. These are the roadmaps. So step by steps we can learn. So, okay, start step by steps. So it is programming basics like C sharp basics. Next, .NET fundamentals, .NET framework like our learning environment and runtime. What are its and what are the frameworks, .NET framework and .NET Core, and learning advanced C sharp like link you. It is used to connect, and it's a feature of C sharp. And you have to know database management. In database management, you should know SQL Server or entity framework. After that, you should know Web API, Web MVC. So in that, REST APIs are there. In that, authentication and authorization when we use the tools. Okay. So for web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript are mandatory for front end. So ASP.NET Core you have to use for MVC and for API REST APIs. So for front end UI development, we are using these are the latest React, Angular, and Blazor. These are the front end pages we have to create. So first of all, .NET developer roadmap. Main topics. What should we learn? What should okay? Programming basics. You should learn programming basics like C sharp basics and OOPS concepts. Okay, that's are the main fundamental concepts. And .NET fundamentals like you should know the difference between .NET framework and .NET Core, and you have to use it like the CLR and runtime, common language runtime. You should learn about that. And advanced C sharp like link queue. It is a feature of C sharp only. So it is used to the connect and database management like SQL database connections and entity framework. So we have to use that. For the front end, we use web development like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Uh, so ASP.NET Core MVC is like a model view controller. So in the view, we can write our front end part. So that is about it. Web API, it is an REST APIs for the web application. It is used to authentication and authorization can be done. So testing and debugging, for the Postman or Swagger, it is an testing tool. We can use it to test and debug and design patterns and architecture. These are the main topics and important topics, solid principles. And after that, for the DevOps version control, should learn my Git and GitHub. So we will use it because we will develop a project so that everyone can see and every in a project. And cloud computing, Azure. So many have AWS, Google Cloud. So these are the for front end UI optional like React, Angular, Blazor. These are the main topics. So we will cover. So first of all, I will say roadmap details. Detailedly, I will explain what are the in C sharp language. What are the basics you can learn? Like what is C sharp and what is .NET. So you have to learn .NET. What is .NET? .NET is a framework which we can use a language like C sharp is a programming language. You can use in a .NET framework. So You have to learn about that. The various variables and data types, okay, operators, control statements, if else, switch loops, for loop, while loop for each, methods and parameters. You should know arrays and collection, and that the list dictionary, array list we have, and object-oriented programming. These are the main biggest topics you know for the C sharp language. Like class and objects are the main part of OOPS concepts. In that we have four pillars like encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. And we have to understand what is the difference between interfaces and abstract classes, differences, constructors and destructors. What are the differences? What are access modifiers? Like we have different types of access modifiers like public, private, protected, internal. So we will learn. We have to learn. And in .NET, what are the frameworks like a .NET framework platform basics like a .NET? What is .NET framework? What is .NET Core? What is the difference between them? And what is CLR? What is JIT compiler? What is it? What is mean by managed code and unmanaged code? What do you mean by exception handling and memory? Like we for the errors we use try catch finally this. So this we will learn. And advanced C sharp concepts like what are the delegates, events, lambda expressions, link you like and async and wait, multi-threading and task reflection attributes, um, database and data access like SQL and SQL Server and database basics. Like we have to learn about the joins, CRUD operations, tables, keys, constants, join, and what are DMLT, DDL, TCL, stored procedures, what are indexes, what are transactions, what are triggers. You can and entity framework there are three concepts like code first approach, database first approach, and model approach, and DB context and DB set. What are migrations? What are relationship between them? What are link and EF with EF, link with EF? It is entity framework. And performance optimization we can have to learn. And web development for it is for then development of web development for an front end. So mainly we say that it is for front end, like HTML5, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript basics are JavaScripts. uh, And in ASP.NET Core, we have to learn MVC architecture, what are controllers, what are models, what are views. We have to learn what are weather pages, what is routing, what are filters, what are validations, what is the dependency injection. Okay? And in web API development, there are REST APIs, REST principles, ASP.NET Core Web API, HTTP methods, what are HTTP status codes, what is Swagger, what is DTOS, what are JWT authentication, that is JSON web tokens and authorization and roles. Okay. And testing and debugging, we use Postman in testings. Like we have to test our code. Is it any mistake or it is running? How it is running? Any problem? We have to test it. So that we use debugging and in Visual Studio we have debugging, logging, and how to handle the errors. Architecture and design. It is like the MVC pattern, how it is. And we use the dependency injection repositories and application architecture. There are three-tier architecture, layered architecture. There are basics we have to learn. Cloud computing, what are Azure. So this DevOps, Git and GitHub are main important. Okay. Modern UNX like Angular Reactor for a front end, they are compulsory because to develop an web API, you should learn Angular React to interact with the backend and front end. And it's career preparation. So, you have to build a project for that. A good project using CRUD operations like web app. You have to create authentication system for security purpose. You have to create REST API project to interact with them. So it is a full stack and cloud hosted project also. So these are the main interview preparations are for companies. Okay. And these are all about the roadmap. So I want to tell one more time. So what are the main topics you have to learn? To become a .NET developer, the main topics are you have to learn C Sharp fundamentals, OOPS fundamentals, and advance of C Sharp. Next ASP.NET. Next ADO.NET. ASP.NET is used for web forms. Uh, and ASP.NET Core or ASP.NET MVC Model View Controller. In that we use the entity framework. We have to learn SQL Server for the database connection for the uh, to store and manipulate the data. And next we have to learn web APIs. Web APIs. In that we have Swagger. So to interact with the front end and back end, we have to learn Angular. So for front end, everyone know HTML, CSS, JavaScript are uh, known languages. So Angular or React. For an C Sharp, for an .NET developer, Angular becomes somewhat easy, but it is, oh yes, easy. It's maybe easy because the language is related to the C Sharp. Okay. This is all about the roadmap to become a .NET developer. So from next class, we will learn. Thank you for this. Thank you so much. Bye.